It's not a get rich quick scheme. Every community is different. We have been on the forums on Facebook. We have listened to people. What works in one community is not going to work in another community. A community like Miami, you're not going to stray very far from where you're at. Whereas for here, we do stray. We service many communities around us because we don't have a huge population. And so I think the best advice I would have is figure out what works for you, your business, your family, and your community.
Welcome back inside of Trash Chatter. I'm your host, Victoria Conway. And today I'm pleased to be joined by Patrick and Monica Toledano out of Rapid City, South Dakota. How are you guys?
We're doing good.
We're really good.
How are you?
Doing well. Appreciate you guys taking some time to join us. I know you guys are busy. You got your daughter watching Paw Patrol in the other room. So you guys are multitasking on top of running a business. So I greatly appreciate it. You know, you guys got started with our SB3 model about 2 years ago. I want to take you guys back to when you started doing the research and before you got into this industry. Who found it first? What were those early conversations like that led you guys to owning your own business?
I found it. We were getting ready to go tootle around in the Black Hills, and I asked him to throw something away, and our garbage stunk really bad. So he said, yeah, it needs to be cleaned. And I was like, yeah, that's not me. So let's see if we can find somebody to do it. So in my search, we did find somebody that was doing it previously, but not for very long, and a couple years ago. But in my search, we found sparkling bins.
Were you like thinking, Patrick, okay, maybe this will work, maybe this won't? What was your take when she told you, okay, there's actually somebody that's not me that could take care of cleaning bins?
Well, yeah, I always tell the story like when people ask that very question, I'm always, it's our trash. It's not just mine. You know, you can clean it too. But I was like, I am not going to get into this industry. Or after we started looking for it, I was like, I'm not going to get into this industry. Why do I want to clean trash cans for a living? You know, I'm sure that many people have thought that very same thing. And then the more we did it, and the more research we did, and the more podcasts we watched, the more it just made sense for us. It was one of those things.
Was this the first business you guys ever opened? So is entrepreneurship just a whole new ball game for you all?
I owned a salon a few years ago. But yes, this was the first business that we started from like the ground up and built together. Yeah.
I was in retail for 30 plus years. So I was not anywhere close to being an entrepreneur. I was in corporate America for a long time.
Inside in the air condition, next thing you know, you're out in the summer heat, clean garbage bins. So it's a little bit of a different background to have to join into it. What did those initial startup months look like for you guys when you're planning, okay, we're going to get the truck, we're going to pick the name, we got a website, we're ready to go. And then next thing you know, the truck's in South Dakota, you guys came down for training with your daughter, and it was like a reality at that point.
Yeah, I'll speak for myself. I was a little freaked out. You know, a nice job where it was a guaranteed paycheck, you know, and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden it was like all this money for the truck and the equipment and the going down to Florida and just it just seemed like it was just adding up and you know, getting a little more nervous because we did and I know we're going to get into this in a minute, but we did a trade show before we even got the truck. And, you know, and then my stomach was even more in knots. And I'm like, is this the right move for us? What did we get ourselves into? And it was just a little nerve wracking on that front. And just the fact is I'm not mechanically inclined, and we've got this big piece of equipment now that I've got to take care of. And just, it just kept going and just spinning out of control. And, you know, I had my wife to keep me grounded a little bit and say that it's going to be okay. And we're going to make it through this. You know, this is just a new adventure for us.
Yeah. But, it was a leap of faith. We absolutely took a leap of faith. Our truck does say in God we trust because we had to trust in something. So yeah, there was some hard times for sure. There were some uneasy times for sure. But I think that without a struggle, you're not as grateful. So we are definitely seeing the grateful side now.
And it seems like you guys balance each other out well. You know, maybe Patrick a little bit nervous about it, and then Monica a little bit more like, okay, having that experience of running a salon. I'm sure there was ups and downs with that too, like any small business. So to see that now, what would you say were some of the biggest challenges? Obviously the equipment, the price, getting started. But in those first couple of months when you started spring into summer, what challenges would you say you guys faced?
She always says it's the education of the customers. You know, we understood. I mean, we did all our research and we understood what we were doing, but getting the public on board was not. It still is a challenge from time to time. We went to that first trade show and we got laughed at constantly, and you know, it was like, what do you mean you're cleaning trash cans? Anybody can do that. And it's like, well, do you? You know. And you know, and we it just put doubt in our own minds. You know, is the public going to buy into this? But you know what? They did buy into it, and slowly but surely, one at a time, you know, they started coming, and we started building our clientele. And it took a little while. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the first months, like you said, were unnerving because nobody really knew what we were doing out here, and we had to educate a lot of people.
Even though it was just here for such a short time. And it wasn't structured like we structure it. So it was just different. And I just think that not enough people got on board that first round when somebody else had the service here. But yeah, that first trade show, people just didn't get it. And there was one point that I turned to Patrick and I'm like, I don't know if I can be laughed at one more time this weekend. It was a whole weekend. It was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday trade show. And, but we did gain a few customers from that, and they're still very loyal to this day. And so those are the things that I try to remember, is to focus on the people who are continually supporting us and saying nice things on Facebook, and just, you know, that support system instead of the people that don't get it. Because if they don't get it, they may not ever get it. And so let's focus on the people that are going to get it.
And the last trade show we just did, it was like a total turnaround. People came up to us, we saw you on TV, we saw you on Facebook, I saw your truck driving down my neighborhood. You know, it was a total turnaround from. So I don't want to put out there that it was horrible, that first one. It was just, you know, we had to build that up, and now it's, you know, people see us and they see our shirt and they go, hey, I know that logo. Or you know, you go to the grocery store and somebody just smiles and waves and they keep on going. You know, so you just know, you know, it's definitely been a turnaround with our customers.
That's what I was going to ask, because I know you guys still post about trade shows. So to see that you guys didn't let that moment, because you're right, Monica, you can get 1,000 nice comments, but one bad one is what will stick with you, even though you believe in the industry. You know there's others out there, but it sits with you. I mean, when my dad started 15 years ago and he was cleaning bins themselves, there was people that would see his truck outside. You know, he'd stop to get lunch and people were like, you're a garbage man, and like laughing. And he was just completely like perplexed. Like, I'm doing something for my family. I'm starting my own business. And there's still so many people that have to find something negative to say instead of just saying it's not for them. So I give you guys such kudos for, because that's eye-opening. You don't even have a truck yet. You have a down payment you already put, and you're like, we're getting laughed at. That would make a lot of people just be like, let's forget it.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do those trade shows, I mean, you said a positive experience there. How many have you guys done, and what are the experiences like now?
We've probably done about 5 trade shows. The home show is our big one, and that's in March. It's a 3-day event. So we're with all the home people, you know, the gutter people, the siding, roofing, painting, windows, you know, so we do very well there. We get better every year. We've done a couple other like small booths at like vendor shows where people bring their wares. That hasn't produced as much good things, but I mean, people are coming there to buy something, and we're there to educate people. And so hit or miss on those.
Touch of trucks.
But we do a lot of touch of trucks in our community. There's a lot of churches. There's a library that does touch of trucks events. So we get into those. And that's just a way too to give back. You know, there really isn't a cost, but kids come and have a good time, and they get to lift the can up and put the can back down, and those have been very, very well received as well.
And then the parades, we get into the parade, the 4th of July parade every year. We get into, we tried to get into the Christmas parade, but we had a conflict of interest, so we couldn't get into that.
We were on vacation.
We were in warmer
You deserve
climates.
those. You deserve a vacation after a spring and summer of cleaning bins. But I think, like you said, it's even a couple people get educated, it helps, because you never know who they might tell and share it with. So just getting different types of exposure. As we're in here inside of Trash Chatter, Victoria, alongside Patrick and Monica out of South Dakota, talking a little bit about their journey with getting started with running their own trash bin cleaning service. Talk a little bit about their trials and tribulations. Want to ask you guys, what forms of advertising have you felt have been the most successful? We talked about trade shows, home shows. Is there anything else you guys do that you feel has led to some success?
I do a fair amount of the marketing. We do a lot on Facebook. We do a Fresh Bin Friday. We try to do a Fresh Bin Friday every week. We last summer had a news company come out and do a special, like a spring cleaning special. And that was good for us. So we recently reached back out to them this spring to do a commercial. And people are definitely seeing the commercial. I'm not seeing a lot of signups from the commercial yet, but we did just start that. We have found that print does not work for us. So we have stopped doing any kind of print. We don't door knock, and we don't do door hangers either.
The commercial we just did, right after that, the weather turned cold. So they're not, we're not Florida where you get 70 degrees in the wintertime. We got to deal with some cold and some snow. So, people don't always think that it's time to clean their bin when they look outside and the white stuff's still falling. So
definitely. No, that's very true. I'm sure, maybe if it ran in the middle of July, you have a little bit of a different reaction, especially like you said, folks like yourself that went to throw out your own garbage and you're thinking, what's this smell? So but those are all seems like everything you guys have done so far, which I think is an important message for anyone trying to be an entrepreneur is you've learned from it, whether it's positive or negative. It's like, we have to switch our strategy. Maybe this isn't working for us, and that's okay, because if you don't try it, you're not going to know. So I think it's interesting that TV worked a little bit, visual learning. Because I think for a lot of folks, when you actually see the truck in action, that's where it clicks a little bit. You're like, Wait, this is the pressure washer. Like you said, kids can grab the remote and play around with it. It's a completely different ball game then.
Right. Yeah. The best marketing tool we have is the truck. And your dad said it a million times was, drive that thing around and let the people see you operate it. I don't know how many times I've been stopped cleaning somebody's bin, and one particular day I had a lady behind me in her truck waiting for me to get done so she could talk to me, and then another lady behind her just waiting in their car waiting for me to get done so they could get signed up. And I ended up signing like 5 people up that day, and they were all in the same neighborhood. So it was just, you can't beat that kind of advertising.
No, definitely. Patrick probably had a line of people lined up down the block. People are like, what's happening out there? For you guys being in an area, like you touched on, the weather's a little bit colder. What service plan do you see most frequent? What do you guys offer to your clients?
I think we see quarterly the most. Honestly, I think one time is almost more, but then they usually turn around and sign up for quarterly. And we did just start a spring and fall option. Just because we're trying to get less people in the wintertime. The wintertime is rough. We do clean 12 months out of the year if we can. Last year we did just fine. We had to move people around a little bit, but they were all very understanding. This year, February bit us pretty good. There was 3 weeks that it never got above freezing. So we did move some people around, but like our monthlies, we had to cancel them and put them on to the next month. But they still were all very understanding.
It's nice that they were understanding because, like you said, you can't control it if it's freezing temps. And that's always a question people ask us about, like, what do I do? And I try to pitch them on that idea, like try to do the 12 months because you never know, because on the opposite of having the freezing month, you might have a warm month and you're thinking, oh, we could have gotten out there. Do you guys stick to strictly bin cleaning, or is there any pressure washing that you all offer?
So I've been working with some restaurants doing pressure washing on their by their grease traps and then their sidewalks. I have not gotten into the parking lots and all that. That's pretty massive. But we have been doing some restaurants and getting that. And then last summer I did a camping resort. I worked out at did some pressure washing for their on their concrete. We've got a surface cleaner and did all their walkways and stuff. So that's been pretty good. We're definitely going to start advertising for that more.
And hopefully, as it gets warmer out too, that'll get some people that want their areas to look a little bit more presentable, and also maybe tie into bin cleaning. So that's great to hear. You guys are taking advantage of both the bin cleaning and pressure washing, which we tell everyone, if you have it, why not? In restaurants, I mean, to me, I always think for the most part, a lot of restaurants have a little bit of extra reserve that can help separate them from some other places if it looks clean out there.
Yeah.
One last question before we let you guys go. I want to ask you, if you guys went back 2 years ago, you were learning different things about the industry. Somebody new came up to you and said, what should I know about the trash bin cleaning industry? What advice would you all share with them?
I think it's like the same thing that we've seen on every podcast is it's not a get rich quick scheme. Every community is different. We have been on the forums on Facebook. We have listened to people. What works in one community is not going to work in another community. A community like Miami, you're not going to stray very far from where you're at. Whereas for here, we do stray. We service many communities around us because we don't have a huge population. Rapid City is about 80,000 people. But there's a lot of little towns around it. And so we just kind of block them together so that we're not driving all over the place, because that's obviously not. But that's what works for us. That may not work for somebody else. HOAs have just not been a thing for us. Right. And so we have not put a lot of time or effort into that. We tried a few of them and it wasn't a thing. But we have reached out to a lot of our waste haulers, and we have very good relationships with them, and we do help them with keeping up with their bins, and we do some manually do some dumpsters, and so we just have really worked on finding what is going to work for us in our community. And so I think the best advice I would have is figure out what works for you, your business, your family, and your community.
The other thing is we belong to several networking groups. Mm-hmm. And so, Tuesday nights seem to be the night, and you go out there and you don't know who you're going to meet there. You could be some insurance agent or a real estate agent. And what's that going to bring you? It might only be a bin here, but next week you meet somebody and they'll be able to help you on your truck if you need to get something done on your truck, or, I don't know. I mean, we just met so many people, and it's turned out to be a good thing for the business on many fronts. I mean, either a customer or just a contact to have in your reserve in case you need something.
Well, it seems like you guys have done a great job immersing yourself within the community. And I like that you said, Monica, you have to find what works best for you, because you see the questions all the time. How does this become successful? And of course, you might want to ask that before making an investment. But if we all had the same answers for every city, there would be a million of these companies out there. So the fact that you guys took a city where you saw somebody doing bin cleaning, it didn't work, and you guys didn't view it as, oh, it'll never work here. It was like, why didn't it work? I think that's a great testament. And it's great to see that you guys are pivoting, finding new ways, and really deciding what works best for you guys.
You have to have your name out there in what you're doing. Mm-hmm. It's just what you have to do.
And we are very family focused and family owned. And we call Paisley, our daughter's supervisor, Paisley. She often will go with her dad to clean bins. And she's got logoed merch as well that she wears. And everybody knows her. She's in our commercials. She's in our marketing. So just becoming that family. People are going to resonate with family. People do business with people they know and they trust. And I think that's very powerful.
I remember when she was at the shop with the little garbage can with sparkling bins, and she was ready to roll. So
we still have
that little trash can. She loves it.
I'll have to get that picture that you guys, if you guys are okay with sharing it, we'll put it on there because it was great to see. And you're right. Who doesn't want to help out a family that's also trying to help the community?
Just a lot of drive. You have to have drive with this. It's not.
That's what she does. That's a great piece of advice right there, is have somebody tell you that you need to do something every day, no matter what it is. If it's a small thing or a large thing, because sometimes when you're just getting started, it can be a little frustrating. So you just need somebody to tell you, just go do something to get towards your goal. It doesn't have to be a big thing. You just got to go do something.
Our rule is we have to do one thing for our business every day, whether it's a phone call, it's a flyer, it's a post on Facebook, it's something we do one thing every day for our business.
That's a beautiful way to look at it. You know, one of our employees says to us all the time, like, entrepreneurship is like one of the loneliest things to get into, because there are some days where you feel like it's just you against everybody else. But it's really nice to see that you guys seem to really motivate each other, and one thing a day adds up over the course of a calendar year.
Yep.
Sure does.
Well, Patrick and Monica, thank you guys so much for taking some time. You know, please wish Paisley well. Appreciate her giving us some time to chat with her parents. If you guys are out in the Rapid City area of South Dakota, please make sure to reach out to Krusty Bin Cleaners. Thank you guys so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, once again, Trash Chatter, we release episodes once a month. You can get them on Spotify, Apple Music, or watch us on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe and visit Patrick and Monica if you're out in South Dakota. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you again next time.